Hi everybody, this is Figen from Turkey. I'm an air traffic controller in an international airport and I'm having my PhD in a local university in the province of Muğla. I have started my PhD journey at my 50 years old. So I'm trying to get on well with the older procedure. Some homeworks should be told in the YouTube account uh, because our instructor wanted us to do this. So I want to talk about today about the founder of the history of science. Uh, I'm doing this not as a homework, but I have many English students, many English friends, and they wanted me to take the videos in English as well, and I will try it to the most to make it clear for them. I can do it maybe for future as well. As the founder of the history of the science, we can talk about the emergence of the humanity in the world. When the humanity has been in the world and emerged in the world, and we can say that the human beings, has asked about the questions of being, why they have been in the world and where is this world for them. Uh, and the exact questions were maybe who am I and where am I? And the science started like this, just simple, because the human being just started to question about himself and the environment he has been living in. And after that, we can say that the mythology came, the literature came, the philosophy came into the world of the human beings as well. And the human beings, the people, made a mixture of all of them to to give some meaning to their being and where they have been anyway. So we can say that with the invention of the writing in Mesopotamia and Egypt in 3000 BC, we can say that they started to copy all the evidences for the science. Uh, After the first civilizations, after a long time, we can go to the 6th and 5th centuries before Christ, and we can see that there is a very important civilization which has been recorded as the founders of the science in Aegean region, which is a Greek civilization. So we see that the Thales, who is mentioned as the ancestor or grandfather of the science, he lived in Miletos, in Aegean region, somewhere in Turkey, but he was belonged to a Greek community, and his family was doing the trade with the Egypt and the Middle East. This is why he has traveled a lot to the Egypt and the Middle East, and he has heard about all the mythos of the Greek, or mythos of the Egypt. And in Egypt as well, he has seen some geographical events, and he started to examine about the structure of the structure of the uh, substance substance structure. He is the first one. He is mentioned as the first one who is examined the structure of the substance. After Thales, we can see around 300 BC, we see the Aristotle in the as a Greek, as a big Greek influencer, a philosopher, and influencer as well in the science history. And he has found many things about mathematics and astronomy, although he has made his research nearly in all areas. After Aristo has put the foundation of the solar system with his works, research. And after Aristo and after the birth of the Christ, for nearly approximately 1,500 years, were the dark age for the Europe, because it was called as Middle Age. There was the feudal system, and there was the very rich people who owned the big lands, and the other people, the majority of the public, has had to work in these lands as like slaves exactly. And the owner of the lands, the rich people, didn't want them to be educated, because they were afraid of they will start to ask about everything. So it means that the rioting. And they didn't want it. This is why they gave the church strength to prevent all the scientific and maybe the literary works. And the church has separated injustice, but not the real justice. It was very cruel to make the people push not to make any scientific research. Means that the people were condemned to death, maybe. They are punished with that. This is why there was a great press on people not to be educated, not to ask about the scientific things and natural things. And after that, it was the first 1,500 years after the Christ's birth. And during that time, there was another thing was happening in the east of the world. And in the east, in Islamic world, there was a big flourishing about science and literature and social sciences as well, and philosophy. There were really big researchers were coming up, and they were giving very, very good scientific works to the world. For example, Avicenna has been emerged in Islamic era, and he has written the Canon of Medicine book, and it has been used as a training document in the Western medicine faculties for a long time. So also Ibn Rushd has been seen as the philosopher who influenced the reform movement in Europe as well. And like him and Avicenna, there were many other philosophers and scientists in Islamic world, which affected the all Western scientific works later on. And after that, we can see the solar system researches a lot with the Copernic, Kepler, and Galilei. They were also under big push of the church and the public as well. But it was the enlightening era was beginning again in Europe. So they made their research about the sun is the center of the solar system, and all the movements has been realized around the sun, and they put the mathematical formulas and astronomical research about that. And also Newton came and he has written his Principia, which is maybe a new era in science. It showed all the very empirical study in science and physics, mathematics, and also in science history. It affected all the history of science, Newton's Principia. But again, Newton's works also criticized a lot, and he has been pushed. After very long years, his death, his theories has been accepted by the Western community. And after Newton, for the first time, Webber has offered the, instead of philosophy term, scientist term should be used for the people who work on science, and it is accepted because empirical age has started already. Because many scholars, many scientists has been divided the history of science into two, as the antique time, antique science, and empirical science. So empirical science has, especially in 17th century, has been started legally and officially, and during that time, especially in 17th century, everybody has this mentality about empirical science, empirical methods, techniques, but there wasn't any good technology to record all the research. So after that, in the 19th century, and it was seen as an official occupation to make the scientific research. And in 19th century, we can see the Darwin and also Fairwell, and there are any other big scientists came into the scenery. At the last, with the very, very important in the physics science, we can see the Henri Poincaré. He has written La Théorie Physique. But by the way, Comte has been mentioned as the creator of the social science, creator of the social science and social transformation. He has occupied with the people's rights as human beings from the French Revolution in 1789. So as a last word, I can say that the people, the human being started in the world, and he asked the first question, who am I and where am I? And today it is the 21st century, and we are still asking some kind of questions as the human beings, because we wonder about what have been doing around us. So it will go on till the end of the humanity.